Chapter 3. Reverend Adejobi visits Akoka. With the beating and all that shouting, Akin could not tell his father about Reverend Adejobi's proposed visit. How could he? Seized and trashed like that. So the next morning, when Reverend Adejobi arrived at Akoka on his bicycle and asked for the father of young Akin Shegun, Farmer Shegun was taken completely surprised. Akin was still confined to his room, but he could hear the angry conversation outside. "I have no slave to send to your school," Farmer Shegun shouted, for he had learnt of one village where people had sent the children of former slaves to the school at offer, deceiving the teacher into thinking they were their sons. "I will have no child of mine taught to be a thief and to lose all his respect to his elders." Reverend Adejobi started to plead his case. When Mama Akin came out from her room, disturbed by all the noise, Akin could hear her telling his father not to shout at their visitor. Now that Mama Akin was up, Akin decided to risk going out of his room into the courtyard, even though his father had not given him permission. At first, his father did not notice him, but his visitor did. "What's the matter, Akin?" Reverend Adejobi asked as he saw Akin ogling into the courtyard, for Akin was so stiff from his beating that he could hardly walk. Suddenly, Reverend Adejobi became angry and turned on Farmer Shegun. "So you beat this boy so badly that he can hardly walk? What sort of a father are you? The child only wants to improve himself and you punished him in that way. What must God think of your actions?" This did not in the least worry Farmer Shegun, for he did not believe in Reverend Adejobi's God, the white man's God, but he was taken aback by the man's anger. "Men like you are not fit to be in charge of children," continued Reverend Adejobi. By this time, Mama Akin had started to cry. Farmer Shegun continued, "Reverend Adejobi, I am so impressed by your son's determination to go to school that he can come to live with me, and I shall feed him and clothe him. All he will have to do is to help in the house." "Never," said Farmer Shegun, but Mama Akin got down on her knees before him, crying and begging him. "Baba Akin, I beg you, let the gentleman take Akin. The boy wants to go to school very much. I'm sure he will look after him and see that he doesn't get into any trouble." For nearly half an hour, Reverend Adejobi and Mama Akin argued with him. Finally, Farmer Shegun, scolding like a defeated man, said, "Then I will let him go. But don't blame me if when I am dead, your precious Akin doesn't come back to look after you in your old age." Akin was amazed by his father's sudden change of heart. Soon, arrangements had been made for Akin to leave in 2 months' time, when new pupils would be taken into the school. Akin boasted to his friends about his coming adventure. While some of them were envious of him, others said they were glad it was he and not they, for they knew he would suffer there. But Akin did not take any notice of them. At first, Ojo was glad his brother was going. There would be no more bullying. He could leave. He could have his parents all to himself. But as the day for Akin's departure drew near, he began to wish he was going too. He now realized how much he would miss Akin once he had gone. 2 days before he was due to leave for school, Akin went to the farm with his father, for Mama Akin had said he should take some yams and plantains with him to Reverend Adejobi. On Sunday morning, Akin was up early, for his mother helped him pack all wooden boxes that the village carpenter had made. In it, he placed his clothes and a new sleeping mat. At 7 o'clock the following morning, he prostrated before his father and said goodbye. His brother was standing beside him and tears were streaming down his cheeks. Farmer Shegun patted Akin on the head. "Be good, my boy. We will see you again soon." Mama Akin picked up the bundle of yams and plantain, placed his box. While Akin placed his box on his head, he didn't know how he could make the long journey carrying such a heavy box, but he was determined to get there. If he had looked back, he could have seen that even his father had tears in his eyes, for though Farmer Shegun was a strict father, he loved his son Akin very much. When Akin and his mother arrived at Offer, Reverend Adejobi was waiting for Akin. Mama Akin handed him the yams and plantains and implored him to look after Akin. Then, sobbing publicly, he drew Akin close to her and hugged him. Then reluctantly she said goodbye and hurried away. She had fought hard withhold her tears and not break down before all those watching the new boy from Akoka. Reverend Adejobi took Akin to his house and showed him a tiny room in which he would sleep with another boy who had been at the school for 2 years. "Now let's hurry across the school," Reverend Adejobi told Akin. "The other boy should be there by now." In the classroom, 23 boys were assembled. Akin was told to place his right hand over his head and touch his left ear. This was the way teachers in those days judged whether the children sent to them were old enough to go to school. If a boy's arm was too short, he was judged not to be old enough. But as there was plenty of room in the class, Reverend Adejobi let him and everyone like him in. But if this had been in a school in the city, however, where there were too many children looking for too few places in a class, his failure to touch ears could have meant his having to come back the following year. The first duty of the pupils in Infant 1 was to sweep the floor and dust the desk and benches. The room was divided into halves by mats nailed to a wooden frame. One half served Infant 1, the other half Infant 2. Akin was busy sweeping when he felt a tap on his shoulder. It was daily. Welcome. So you go to school after all? Meet me in the playground at break time. I am in Infant 2, the other side of the mat. Before Akin could reply, a bell rang and Daly said, "Your teacher is coming. Quick, get behind the desk." A short, fat man with spectacles waddled into the classroom. He carried a cane. "I am Mr. Adeola. Welcome to St. Peter's Primary School. I am your teacher. I must warn you that anyone who is naughty will feel this on his back." He switched the cane in the air. "Now, when I call your name, stand up and answer me." "Yes, sir." After he had read out 15 names, he at the last called Akinjide Shegun. "Yes, sir," replied Akin loudly, thinking happily as he stood up. "Yes, here I am at last in school. Soon I will be like Mr. Komola."